much to the entire neighborhood and to the Louise's beautiful family that are right in front of us. What we're doing today is Joe, the eldest son, is going to be doing a eulogy, but he asked to be the last because he has somebody special coming from Orange County. So he's going to speak at the end. The way we're going to do this is, also I want to thank the library so much for making all of this possible, and yay, yay. Please clap all along the way, because we want to keep the vibration up for ourselves and for Louisa that we all love so much. I want to thank everyone for bringing the food, the flowers, the photos, the tablecloths. Just everything has made this so special today. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have, this is called, instead of a hot seat, this is going to be called the love seat. And we're going to give people an opportunity to come up and tell a story about Louisa. And that seat is a seat where you can just find yourself going over to that seat so that we aren't waiting. We'll have people right there, okay? I guess I'll begin just to get it going. And if we could have somebody move to that chair right now that's going to be next to speak. Could somebody move to the chair? Okay. Beautiful, Kathy. Yay, right. Kathy. And actually, there's a couple seats there, so you could sit in one of those seats and have somebody else sit in the next seat ready to go. That would be wonderful.
There's a book going around that people can sign and write.
Thank you. Mona said they have a special book so we can to memorialize Louisa, and that will be going around, and please sign that. If you've just coming, we have name tags, and Peggy, do you show the name tags? But yes. Yeah, Peggy has the name tags. If someone has a name, it's easier to engage. We'd like people to be able to talk to each other. So I'm going to sit in the love seat and show how you do this. So my name is Sydney, and
the dog's doing it.
Are you sure it's not a hot seat?
I love it.
Sorry about that.
Front of the love seat.
okay,
There we go. All good.
As long as the bees don't do it.
no, he's fine. Okay, so. Yay, Christina, the queen of the library.
Yes, way to go, Christina.
The shade, if anyone's melting, feel free to squeeze it a little tighter.
Okay, I just want to say, as you know, I'm Sydney. 8 years ago, my mom left us, and God sent me Louisa in that very year, who was a very, very dear friend, and I can't help but saying a little bit of a mother figure to me, although she never would want to hear that. She was always considered a best friend. And this is my quick story. I was with Louisa, and we were walking over to the library, and as there are many unsheltered people in the neighborhood, there was an unsheltered person there. There were a couple police people around the unsheltered person, and it didn't look good. And Louisa quietly walked up to them, and they said, "Excuse me, officers, is there anything I can do to help?" So I just, that it, for me, is always the most precious thing, that she would step out, she would speak out. So she's an example to me and to all of us. Okay, great. Kathy?
Okay, I will. Hi, my name's Kathy. Gosh, I have so many fond memories of Louisa. Walking the neighborhood with the dog and running into Louisa, and we'd walk a ways together and talk. Coming back to her house and getting figs from the trees. But the most fond memory I have, the funniest memories I have with her, are at Yappy Hour. Years ago, there were a group of us dog owners that would meet down by the Zalac Rowing Club on the bay, and we'd all have our dogs with us, and we'd all have dog treats to share with all the dogs. I'm going to read off the names of those I can remember. Louisa, and I think she had Gypsy at that time. Yes, and then there was Sally, who used to live down at the end of the street, who passed a number of years ago. Robin, and Mike. Robin and Mike were running the Zalac Club. They were kind of like the managers to keep everything going. Robin's dog was named Sam. Big old dog. Then there was Terry Bowen, who had Mr. Biddles. She's here today. There was a lady named Dolores, who I can't remember much about. She never said much. And there was a gal named Floy with her dog Sophie. And there was Dorothy. We all know Dorothy had Shotzi. And Dan and Sweetie. Dan's here today. I mean Dan. Excuse me.
Whoa.
What's your name? Ray and Sweetie. Sorry. And Michelle and Danelli. Michelle lived down the road. And myself with my dog Charlie. And we would have so much fun. And one day, a photographer from the newspapers came and took pictures that they posted in the Beach and Bay Press. Do you think they took pictures of us? Not one of us was in the picture. It was all the dogs.
Whoa, all the dogs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
When you've lived 9 decades, you have a lot of phases to your life. I was in a certain phase of a beloved woman named Louisa. I was in her life between 1991 and 1999, and during that time I thought she was my best friend, and I knew that I loved her very much.
You guys were like this.
Oh, that's Mona giving us that we were like this. I had just come from the state of Massachusetts and I knew no one. I went immediately to the Unitarian Universalist Church, where is one of the places I met Louisa. And the most important thing,
That's Howard, our brother.
I'm a Unitarian First Church.
I wasn't sure what the signal was. I thought
Oh,
maybe I wasn't holding this
that's
correct.
not like-
Okay, no more
that
signals.
was like jazz hands. That's like jazz hands versus clapping.
Well, in that time frame, there was no dog, and I became the walking friend. I was also trying to get a job at city schools, and so I did a lot of substituting work. I mention that because every day when we walked, I talked about the situation in whatever my classroom was for the day, and we would laugh and joke and write down those phrases that the children would say. And every day, we shared all that we were about. It was the time where her husband was succumbing to his illness, and she loved having me to walk with. And it was a time that I was saying goodbye to my life over in the New England area, and she was the best friend to hold my hand. And the only story that is worth telling a crowd like this is that we decided we would take a trip for 1 week during my school vacation to Arizona. And Louisa was sure we didn't have to make any reservations. So in the course of this time, every single night we couldn't find a hotel. And we would go 4 more miles to the next hotel and it would be booked. And once in a while there was a hotel that had a room, and when we got in we were scared and would leave. So many times we didn't go to bed till 11 o'clock at night on the trip that we were taking together through Arizona. Thank you.
My name is Marcy Beckett, and I met Louisa in the early 2000s. We have a group called BORC, B-O-R-C, which is Bayard, Oliver, Reed, and Cass. And that BORC group was started 40 years ago by neighbors who just wanted to get together on Friday evenings in the summer. And so different households would host it each time, and you would provide appetizers. Everybody brought their own drinks, and you just have a Friday evening happy hour, which sometimes lasted longer than an hour. And so that's kind of how I met Louisa. She had, I grew up here in PB. I grew up on Bayard Street. I live in the house where I grew up. And Louisa was raising her family in that house behind the library and I never knew her, and she had 5 kids, I think. Am I right or wrong? 4 kids, 5 kids.
It depends how you count, but it's
Okay,
Count Lynn, yeah.
my
5.
family had
Count
7.
you.
We had
Come
7
on, you know that.
kids, and I'm just surprised that we didn't cross paths until, I was an adult in the early 2000s. But the thing that always, Louisa was so friendly and welcoming to people that, were strangers, basically. So we hit it off, and